Class, let's all recognize Dr. Cassie Smith, who's with us today. Now, what's one thing we're curious to learn from Dr. Smith's experience?
So M2 is from a company called Swivel, who has been working in education technology for several years. Teachers have been able to use their old systems in order to help them reflect on their teaching, to record their classes, and to see what's happening real time. M2 is the AI-enhanced classroom robot teaching assistant. And he essentially allows a teacher to watch an entire class. They record everything that's said, everything that happens, and then they can reflect back on it. Not only that, but M2 has some really cool pieces of functionality. For example, if I was to tell you that the University of Idaho Agricultural Education teaching interns this spring have M2s with them all across their student teaching experiences, then I could ask M2, could you repeat what I said in Spanish?
Claro, vamos a repetir eso en español para todos. Aquí va. M2 es un asistente robot de enseñanza en el aula, mejorado con inteligencia artificial, que permite a un profesor observar toda la clase, graba todo lo que se dice, todo lo que sucede, y luego se puede reflexionar sobre ello.
M2 will continue everything that I just said and helps our students who might not have Spanish proficiency speak to their English language learners in real time. Not only that, but M2 has the ability to help them randomize things in their classroom. It helps them to have their students reflect. It will come up with reflection questions based on what they've talked about in the class. And it will give them everything else they need from really just kind of having another set of eyes in the classroom. It certainly doesn't replace a teacher, but it's a great way for a teacher to have the ability to have an AI assistant with them. Anyone who has the button can push the button and ask an additional question. So we could ask questions like, M2, what is the land-grant university in Idaho?
The land-grant university in Idaho is the University of Idaho. It was established under the Morrill Act to provide education in agriculture, science, and engineering.
And it will give us some more prompts that can build from that student question. Hey, M2, if I were teaching a lesson right now, how am I doing as an educator?
We're all here to reflect together. One way to know how you're doing is to think about how engaged the class feels, how clear your explanations are, and how well we're meeting today.
And then M2 will go through and give the teacher real-time feedback. Not only that, but this recorded video is stored in the M2 system, so the student teacher can go back afterwards and ask very specific questions. It can say, did I ask enough questions? Did I meet my learning objectives? If a student wasn't here today, what did they miss? And it will create a guide of what that student exactly missed. It also allows you to post that to a Google Classroom or an online learning management system. We're using them in class because when a student has this, it's almost as good as them having us there every day, which we realistically can't be as teacher educators. So as teacher educators, we've programmed on the back end everything that we teach in our program. So we've done some back-end setup, so the AI it's drawing from is directly related to the courses that they've learned here at the University of Idaho. And then as those students are out in the space, they have the chance to get an additional observation. We place our student teachers in the very best programs, and the very best agricultural education programs in the country are not necessarily right near the University of Idaho, although there are some really good ones close. But some of our student teachers are a long way away. And for us to physically travel to those locations is not efficient from a travel saving standpoint. So this spring, we've been able to cut down the number of observations in person we're doing, but we're doing more observations with the M2 units that we can kind of send out as our remote information gatherers. And then we can watch those videos back, those students can watch the videos, and we're actually getting more observational power in the classroom.